Good evening, you're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Joanna Ho. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. The chief executive dashes hopes of scrapping health codes and masks anytime soon. The city's sole Sikh Temple finally reopens after 5 years. And Donald Trump strongly hints at a comeback as midterm elections kick off today. Chief Executive John Lee has dashed any hopes that the mask mandate and color health codes will be gone anytime soon, but he indicated rules can be banned as the city looks forward to hosting more visitors. Speaking at a weekly press briefing this morning, Chief Executive John Lee hailed the Global Financial Leaders Investment Summit and the Hong Kong Sevens, which took place last week, as great successes. On Sunday, many top officials, including Lee, were seen unmasked while enjoying the rugby games, since spectators were allowed to go maskless to eat and drink at the venue. But asked whether the mask mandate can be scrapped for more occasions outside the stadium, Lee said the restriction will stay on.
All experts have indicated mask is important to control the spread of the disease. After all, we have to be conscious of some of the uncertainties of COVID. First of all, we know every now and then there will be variants, and we also know that with winter coming, the attack of the flu will add to the risk of COVID.
The leader also stood firm on the colored health code system, insisting they are important for managing COVID risks. That's despite the government recently announcing visitors in tour groups will be allowed to visit certain attractions and restaurants throughout their first 3 days of arrival, when their code is still amber. The CE also doubled down on the 0+3 arrangement for incomers, although he indicated there's room for more adjustments. He said authorities might look into relaxing restrictions for self-guided tourists, but any further changes would depend on upcoming infection data. Lee also assured the SAR government is continuing its push to open borders with the mainland, and talks surrounding the reverse quarantine measure are ongoing. A lawmaker says the government needs to tackle problems within public hospitals in order to solve their manpower shortage issues. This comes after the chief executive defended a proposal to make medical workers serve time in the public sector before they're allowed to go private. Macy Mock reports.
Chief Executive John Lee today remained tight-lipped on how long healthcare workers might need to stay in public institutions before they can move to private clinics. The move was first suggested as a way to tackle the government's manpower crisis, but it was slammed by former Financial Secretary John Tsang, who recently said on social media that it could drive medical workers away from the city. In response, Lee said the manpower shortage has already become an indisputable reality. After all, we did use public resources to train these people for the benefit of Hong Kong, he added. The government has to find a solution for the public healthcare system in order to ensure good services for the public. But medical sector lawmaker David Lam believes the government should instead focus on why workers are in such a hurry to leave public hospitals.
I understand that a great number of colleagues are very unsatisfied with the working environment in public hospitals, especially in relation to the heavy workload, the governance, interpersonal relationship, and many just don't feel there is a good teamwork inside the public hospital. So in order to invite these people to stay behind, I think the first question to ask ourselves is how can we improve our public hospital governance so that people don't feel so difficult to stay behind.
Lam added the government should work on reforming the healthcare system. Otherwise, things will only get worse with the city's aging population. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
John Lee shied away from directly answering questions about Bao Choi, the RTHK journalist who lost a court appeal yesterday, but he reiterated Hong Kong has always enjoyed press freedom.
Press freedom is, as I have mentioned many times, in the pocket of the people of Hong Kong. It is enshrined and protected in the basic law. What is important is, no matter what profession you are in, you must go about your duties in accordance with the law. You cannot go beyond the law, and nobody is above the law. And provided it is within the confines of the law, press freedom is fully protected in Hong Kong, in the same way as you are doing your business every day.
A High Court judge rejected Choi's appeal over her conviction of making false statements while looking up car plates for a story 2 years ago. In a statement, the city's largest journalist association expressed concern and disappointment towards the ruling. It said the verdict will create great obstacles for investigative reporting in the future. Currently, one can apply for access to the city's vehicle registry if it is related to legal proceedings, car transactions, or traffic and transport-related matters. Over in the U.S., with the midterm elections kicking off today, candidates and party leaders squeezed in some final appeals across the country. This included former President Donald Trump, who did more than just back his party members, as Khan reports.
While campaigning in the tightly contested state of Ohio ahead of Election Day, Donald Trump teased his supporters once again.
And I would say, in the strongest way, it's a country-saving election, specifically including the election of all the people that I'm going to name. I'm going to be making a very big announcement on Tuesday, November 15th, at Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida.
It's the strongest indication yet the former leader is eyeing a comeback for the 2024 presidential election. The Republicans are confident that they can take back control of Congress, as Trump labeled the midterms a fight to save America. On the other hand, President Joe Biden held a final rally in the Democratic stronghold state of Maryland. He continued a steady strategy, focusing on the nation's political values.
Look, America's reasserting ourselves, leading the world in the 21st century. As I've traveled this country and the world, I see great nation because I know we're a good people. We just have to remember who in the hell we are. We are the United States of America.
The country's political theater received additional drama at this crucial time, after a Kremlin-connected entrepreneur publicly admitted to having interfered with the U.S. elections before. In a statement, Yevgeny Prigozhin added he would continue to do so. The White House was forced to respond by saying law enforcement have found no specific credible threats so far, and Americans should feel safe heading to the polls. Azam Khan, HKIBC.
Back locally, after a 5-year closure for revamped constructions, the city's only Sikh Temple finally reopened its doors today. The $230 million project was built on funds provided by the Sikh community. Janice Low reports.
The city's sole Sikh temple is finally up and running again after undergoing a 5-year facelift. Before the rebuild, the Grade 2 historic building had been sitting on the junction between Queen's Road East and Stubbs Road in Wan Chai since 1901. This new 76,000 square feet, 3-story structure features extensive facilities, including classrooms and a museum. Various services like medical consultations will also be available here. The city's leader was spotted at the opening event, where he vowed to continue working on making Hong Kong an inclusive place.
The protection of freedom of religious belief is enshrined in the basic law. Speaking today at this momentous occasion for our Sikh community, I would like to reaffirm to you all the government's commitment to building a caring and inclusive Hong Kong for all.
The project, which cost around $230 million, was delayed due to the pandemic.
During the COVID time, because every time we had to do something, the government was not working, the offices not working, offices were shut. So every plan took a lot of time to get the approval. And then the delivery of goods coming from overseas, the marbles, the woods and everything, that got delayed, and that was big challenges.
Banga said reconstruction plans were much smaller when they first started, but he's glad the Sikh community came through with donations. Janice Low, HKIBC.
A 63-year-old man was found dead after falling into a drain in Changsha Wan. Police believe he was trying to pick up a dropped wallet from the drain when he fell into it. A nearby security guard found him upside down in the hole and called for help. He was pronounced dead after medical workers at Caritas Medical Center failed to resuscitate him. Hong Kong stocks fell from a 3-week high as investors cooled down from earlier optimism that the mainland would soon reopen. The sentiment was dented by more COVID flare-ups and official remarks sticking to the dynamic zero policy. The city's benchmark fell 0.2% lower, along with the tech index, which dropped 1.6%. Alibaba contributed to the drag by closing 3.7% down, while Meituan declined 2.7%. Auto shares also underperformed, with NIO topping the losers list by retreating nearly 9%. Geely Auto bucked the trend by going up 1.5%, following positive sale results from October. Cowell E-Holdings also rose above cell phone component companies after Nomura increased its ratings. Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng Index closed down 38 points. To the top 10 active stocks, Tracker Fund was down 1 cent, Tencent up 40 cents. Hong Kong Exchange up $2, JD.com up $1.20. To the forex trading against the Hong Kong dollar, euros at 7.84, pounds at 8.99, and Australian dollar at 5.08. Over to the UK market, FTSE 100 is down 11 points. And finally tonight, it may sound jarring at first, but more than 100 European masterpieces from Liechtenstein will go on display at the Hong Kong Palace Museum this week. Curators say some of the pieces demonstrate the influence of Chinese art and culture back in days. Macy Mock reports.
In the first special exhibition by the Hong Kong Palace Museum, 124 paintings and art pieces from the Liechtenstein princely collections will go on display for 3 months. The precious collections come from 5 eras of the prince's reigns dating back to the 17th century. This Chinese porcelain dish, for example, was likely exported to Europe in the 18th century before bronze decorations were added at the edges.
So we see the princes are very interesting Chinese art. We can also see around the same time, Chinese rulers are also very interesting European art. So it's that kind of interesting, very rich, very complex dialogue that I think it's very, very well suited for the Hong Kong Palace Museum.
Another highlight of the exhibition is this set of artwork by renowned Flemish artist Peter Paul Rubens. Visitors may wonder why there are 2 identical paintings displayed side by side here. After this original work, Peter Paul Rubens decided to create a larger version with the help of his assistant. The oil paintings, it turned out, served as a sketch for a giant tapestry, and these treasures have since been acquired by 3 separate princes of Liechtenstein.
The reason why we selected the Liechtenstein princely collection are also because the majority of the palace treasures currently shown in other galleries are from the Ming and Qing dynasty. So we're looking at, a very similar time frame.
The exhibition runs until February next year. A ticket costs $120 compared to $50 for general admission to the museum, although children between 7 and 11 and the elderly can pay half price. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
On to the weather now. It will be overcast with sunny intervals tomorrow. Temperatures will range between 21 and 25 degrees. Expect sunny periods in the days leading up to the weekend. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Tuesday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Joanna Ho. Thanks for watching. Good night.